Hey friends, Roger Sipe coming at you from the Bunker of Awesome here in Madison, Wisconsin. And we're going to talk about a key today to winning the fourth quarter, finishing the year strong, that inhabits the realm of something that's maybe not the sexiest or funnest thing to talk about, but it is a huge key to winning in anything, and I think you'll find it exceptionally helpful today. Talking about the idea of discipline. Self-discipline specifically. Now, hey, before you go and click and before you get out of here and you're like, oh, another one of these guys, it's only my dad talking. Hang with me for just a minute here. Jim Rohn, the great business philosopher, well, one of his more famous quotes was he talked about how in life we all have to choose between one of two pains. We either choose the pain of discipline or we choose the pain of regret. There's no not choosing. He said that the difference is that the pain of discipline weighs ounces, where the pain of regret weighs tons. I would add that the pain of discipline makes you stronger and better and happier ultimately, whereas the pain of regret simply injures you and crushes you. We all get to choose between one of two pains. So here's the thing. We all know that. Rub with this idea of discipline. It's how we think of it. We think of it as something that it's really not. And we make it much harder on ourselves than we need to. When I talk to people about discipline and I ask them, okay, what do you like when I talk about when I just say the word discipline, what do you think of? And you might even be thinking of this stuff right now. People think of the idea of in conjunction with the idea of discipline, they think of consequences, they think of punishment. A lot of people even think of drill sergeants. A lot of people think of it as simply making themselves do things that they don't want to do, and that's what discipline really is. I get where that comes from, but I'd like to give you a different definition of discipline, and then I would also like to help you focus your attention on maybe a couple of simple areas where upgrading this in your life is going to lead to dramatically different results. Let's talk about what discipline actually means. I write about this in Train Your Brain for Success. If the word discipline itself is actually the same root as the word disciple. Now, I'm not going to get all like spiritual or churchy on you here, but I want you to think about what a disciple is. If you think about a disciple of a teacher, a spiritual person, or a teaching, you think of a follower, right? And I don't mean a follower in the sense of like a sheep. I mean what a disciple is somebody who takes their own petty desires and sort of sublimates them to pursue or follow something greater than themselves. That's what a disciple is. The word discipline comes from the same word. So here's where I would start with this idea of discipline. This is why it's so important, why you hear Rob and Penn and I talk so much about have a goal, get a picture in your mind of what do you want. Give yourself something to follow after, look forward to, or pursue. Because what that does is it gives you energy, pulls you forward, and makes the more traditional meaning of self-discipline much, much easier. When your daily activities, when you maybe go through a little bit of pain, but it's in the service of something that you yourself are looking for or pursuing, it makes everything else so much easier. So start there. That's where we always start with our coaching clients, is get that picture in your mind of what is it that you're going after, because then the pain part of it becomes a whole lot less painful. Now, the other thing that I would tell you, you could look at discipline as it's the ability to intentionally it's the ability to intentionally make a plan and then follow through with it, right? Even when you don't necessarily feel like following through with it. Yeah, there is a little bit of like, okay, I got to do something that maybe hurts a little bit, but I know it's going to make me grow. So here's where I would tell you to focus right now. If you're like, okay, where should I Where should I have more discipline, Roger? Where should I upgrade this thing for myself? I would actually tell you to look at three really fundamental areas. I would ask you to look at three questions, I guess. Number one, are you exercising? Number two, are you reading? And number three, during your day, do you have any amount of time to reflect, be quiet, or meditate? Let me just break these down for you real quick here. I've always found that if I'm ever suffering energetically, or if my results are off, I've had enough go-rounds with this to just kind of look at these questions. Am I exercising? Am I reading? And am I having some quiet, reflective, meditative time during the day? And I usually will find that at least one of those is off. I'm being lazy. I'm not being difficult. I'm not being hard enough on myself. I'm just being lazy about it. Because let's think about this. If you're not exercising, if you're not doing something to take care of your body, it sets off a chain reaction where you probably are, if you're not exercising, you're probably doing what I did when I wasn't exercising, which is just like sitting on the couch watching TV or otherwise frittering away your mind, right? When you exercise, when you actually get out and do it, you take the walk, you get to the gym, you do some push-ups, guess what? Immediately you feel better about yourself. Stephen Covey said that the fastest way to improve your self-esteem is to make a promise and then keep it. So you did something that you feel good about. Well, guess what? It also stimulates your appetite for good food. You will sleep better at night and you'll just set off a chain reaction. So upgrade your discipline there. Two, are you reading? Boy, this is one that is such a it seems like such a lost art, you know? But I would tell you that if you're not reading, you're probably, again, doing what I do when I'm not reading and I have some downtime, which is sitting on the couch, watching TV, or doing something to otherwise fritter away your energy. Pull out a book. Just pull out a book. It doesn't even need to be a personal development book, but upgrade your discipline with what you're allowing into your brain. I can tell you that I've gotten back to this recently, and it just makes a huge difference. Watch what you're reading. And then are you having any quiet time? If you're not giving yourself a little bit, even just a couple minutes of reflective, strategizing, planning time, quiet time, maybe even meditation time during your day, you'll be experiencing the opposite of that, which is just constant grind, running from one thing to another, and probably overstimulation, which again sets off a chain reaction of thinking that'll keep you up at night, make you crave junk food, reduce your motivation and your overall results. So if I've ever experienced a lack of results that I can trace back to just being lazy, sloppy, or undisciplined, it almost always traces back to one of those three areas. Upgrade your discipline, your intentionally doing things that maybe hurt a little bit, but in the service of something greater. In those three areas, you'll notice an immediate difference, and it'll help you get better and feel better right away. So I encourage you to do it. Zig Ziglar, I quoted Jim Rohn to start this, and I'm going to quote Zig Ziglar at the end of it. I love Zig's saying that he almost always signed off with in any one of his speeches, which is that life is hard. Life is hard, but life will be infinitely easier on you if you're a little bit harder on yourself. Take this to heart. Have a little discipline in your life, and I'll see you on the other side. Let me know if we can help. Have an awesome, awesome week.